threatened to kill me and to kill my family.
Did you see George Washington? Do you know who he is?
A lot of churches do not carry the presence of God. So demons, Lucifer, and all that freaky shit, which is pretty cool.
Welcome everybody to the Overboard podcast. Today I'm here with my partner.
Correct.
Marcos. And my name is Diego. Welcome to the podcast. Today we're going to have a special first episode. We're going to be talking about paranormal shit and, Marcos' experiences with paranormal activity and religious thoughts, anything around spiritual mishaps. And he's actually going to start off talking about his adventure at, what was it?
The Devil's Tree.
The Devil's Tree. Where is that?
If I'm not mistaken, it's in Bridgewater,
New Jersey.
Like 50 minutes.
We're repping Jersey, so any of you guys that are Jersey fans out there, welcome to Jersey. Shitty place. All right, so Devil's Tree. So what is it? What is that?
So the Devil's Tree is a tree that has the urban legend of this old guy who killed his family. If I'm not mistaken, maybe he hung them there and then he killed himself. And and then there's been other deaths throughout the lifetime of the Devil's Tree. People say it's a portal to hell, which is bullshit. It's not a portal to hell. I should know. So I actually went this Saturday to the Devil's Tree with a couple coworkers, and funny enough, there was already a couple paranormal investigators there.
Really?
Yes. And apparently, as we were walking up to them, they told us that the spirit went silent. He did not want to talk to us. So what we gathered up was that he was threatened by my presence. I have no idea why. Maybe it could be because I deal with a lot of light spirits, or you could say God, Jesus, angels, saints. I work a lot with those types of spirits, but I also work with the infernal, so demons, Lucifer, and all that freaky shit, which is pretty cool.
By the way, guys, he is not a satanic person. He does not do rituals and all that stuff.
Yeah, I am not satanic. I am not Luciferian.
Yeah. No. This is not what this is about. But there's some people out there that believe in spirits heavily and form of nature, power, and auras and all that kind of stuff, right? Things that we don't have control of. And Marcos came across it at some point in his life, and he decided to just play around with it. And after that, he just, right? You kind of just became one with nature.
Yeah, at first it did become something I'm curious. Let me dabble, how people say, what's up? And I actually started to fall in love with it.
Right.
And now it's part of my life, and I'm in heavy, if you will. So my main system of practice is Cyprianic, so with Saint Cyprian, God and all that stuff. But
what kind of God? Is it like a certain God, religious God? Some people might be asking.
The Abrahamic God, God, Jehovah, Yahweh, that's how a lot of people know him.
God?
Yeah. So I work a lot with him, mainly with Saint Cyprian, who is the patron saint of necromancer, witches, sorcerers. He was a pagan magician who then converted to Christianity. Okay. So that's where the sorcerer saint title comes from.
Comes in, yeah.
Exactly, which also gives me the ability to work within the realms of heaven and hell. Okay. Within the Christian mythology, of course. Right. And so we were at the Devil's Tree, and we were walking up. Apart from the spirit that wanted to talk to me, he went by the name of Satan, which is a little crap.
The spirit went by
the name of Satan.
How'd you know? How'd you find this all out? How did he talk to you?
I don't remember the name of the machine that they had. They had a REM pod, spirit boxes, this ball that.
Oh, so there was paranormal people that were helping you.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, there was paranormal.
Did you have to pay for it, or is it just an open area?
It's an open area. So he was threatened by my presence. Apparently, my spiritual allies, they got my back. So he said I was a preacher and I was a healer. He did not want me there, which is odd, because I'm not a preacher nor a healer.
Right.
I could heal. I could curse. It's fun. Right. I don't recommend it all the time. Yeah. But yeah, and he did threaten me. He threatened to kill me and to kill my family, which is where I stepped firmly on the ground and said, "You are not threatening me. I don't like threats. If you're gonna do it, let's do this now." Right. Shit went silent, and it was that. That's it. He didn't like my presence. I'm a preacher.
So what did you feel about that?
I felt kind of...
Are you scared?
I am not scared.
No.
Especially after he said he was Satan. That's not...
It's a load of crap, right?
Yeah, it's a load of crap. The vibes didn't feel as heavy as it would be an actual infernal deity. Right. So for you guys to have an idea, I've gotten the chance to work with this big demon called Beelzebub, and Ouroboros and all that, and their energy is heavy, like heavy.
You were telling me about how it was like very heated, hot room, all that stuff.
So I did this ritual back in Louisiana at my sister's house, and it was still kind of like summer, so of course it was Louisiana summer. It's hot as balls. And humid. So inside the house, we'd always have the AC on. And so we were doing this offering, regarding this ritual that we petitioned him with, and everything came into fruition quickly. And so during the offering, the room, take into consideration that the AC is on, it's pretty chilly inside. It got hot, like it was outside. It got real hot, real quick. The little flame from the incense offering, left the actual tip of the incense floating in midair, and then came back to the incense turned off. And the 7-day candle, which takes 5 to 7 days to burnt halfway in like 5 to 10 minutes.
That's ridiculous.
That was crazy.
That's crazy.
And my sister felt like this deep, raspy voice talk to her, like right here in the back of the ear, and she told me, "Hey man, were you talking to me?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? I was in the other room getting the stuff for the offerings." Exactly. So it wasn't you. I'm like, "No." No, so he was there, so he was there.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, and so this spirit who called himself Satan is bullshit. He's not Satan. He was probably one of the spirits who committed an atrocious act. We believe it's the one from the original story that killed his family and then killed himself, of the way he threatened me and then my family.
Right.
And the energy was not giving that infernal energy.
Right. Which is weird because they call it the Devil's Tree.
Yeah. So like there's this vibe around it because it's the Devil's Tree and whatnot.
So that's why he probably called himself Satan, because he's probably wearing a mask or whatever.
Exactly. He could be wearing like a spiritual mask, or he could. I mean, we have to think of the context. So this was way back when like religion was like a big deal, and like today, if you kill someone, that's bad. But before, if you kill someone, it was the devil or demonic influence.
Yeah. And it still is. Certain circumstances like that. Anybody that's like committing all those sins or teaming up with the devil, and that's the whole idea of that whole situation there. But yeah, so what would you say to anybody that would try to like debunk anything that you say today, like people that are religious or that are not religious? Oh, well, there's no proof, or oh, maybe it's all in your head. Because remember, I had the conversation with you, and I was like, the mind is a very powerful place, and there might be times where you might even influence yourself. Do you know the saying where it's like, if you say things over and over again, you start to believe it?
Yes, I'm very aware.
I mean, I've even gotten through that. I've said things to people that I've never done, but then I've said it so many times, and it just becomes, not even that, it just becomes a vision in your mind. You're like, wait, did that actually happen? It's like crazy. So anybody who would say this or that,
I mean, it's not something I invite people to do. Like, hey guys, let's work with demons first time around. Right. It's like I said, I work a lot with Christian magic, and people, that's very, very, very conflicting with people's beliefs, as people are like, Christianity and magic does not mix well, or the Bible speaks against magic. Right. But if you look between the lines, there's very much magic, like there is in Norse mythology, Greek mythology, Celtic mythology. There's magic everywhere.
Well, and to your system and the spirits you work with and all that stuff, right? You once told me that it's not as people normally say it is, heaven and hell. It's not like demons or like bad.
There's no heavenly war.
Right, exactly. And tell me a little bit about that. Like, how does, in your sense, your spirits, the things that you work with, how do you envision, or how have you been told by these spirits that hell and heaven are different from that of which other people believe?
From what the church tells you, like if you do this, you're going to hell to suffer.
Sins.
Right. So sins, what I believe them to be, is part of human nature. Like the 7 capital sins, it's human nature. Lust, because we're humans. Greed, pride, gluttony. We all want more.
Which is what they say is partially the devil.
Exactly. So,
but do you believe that that's the devil, or do you believe it's just human nature?
Like the devil is a mask, right? because there's different belief systems. A Luciferian would probably like think differently than a Satanist, than a Christian, than a Muslim, or even a Wiccan or a pagan, you know. But like the devil, for what I learned in my experience, is just a mask.
Right.
Sure, it can be personified, but the devil is a biblical figure.
Right.
You know, I personally, in my experience, don't see that famous war between demons and angels. People are just shit. So they see an excuse to blame every little detail, every little crime. Oh, it was the devil. It was a demon influence. Sure, maybe here and there.
And I want to actually get into that too. Sorry to cut you off, but it's like there's a lot of people out there that like you'll go up to a priest or anybody, right?
Yeah.
And let's say you're like lost and you don't know what to do anymore, and you're just like that playing the victim or whatever, right? Yeah. And you feel like you don't know where to head or where you're going, and you feel like depressed or whatever it may be, right? A lot of people tend to devote themselves to the church and say, okay, let's give it a try, right? People that have never been, you know, raised under the church. And they go up to this priest or whoever it may be, and they say, hey, I'm not feeling well. Like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what life's about. And most often than not, priest will say what? They say, listen.
Could be demonic influence.
Not even that. They'll just tell you, follow me. God will help you. You'll be better.
Okay, so the deal with that is this is a bit more complex because there's like a lot of stuff that goes into it.
Yeah,
to like actually like
it's
talk
also,
about
well,
in one podcast.
It is, but if you think about it too, like that kind of stuff, like a lot of people argue that the church is mostly a business.
Oh, 100%.
And that the Bible
100%.
is not like, although the Bible can be related to the church and the churches all around the world, the church itself could be argued that it is a business.
Well, let me tell you this. Today's day and age, the church is very much a business. And there's this thing called an egregore. Egregore is like this thought form that is recollected from all that energy from this. Let's say 100 people believe like there's this God who envisioned God like this, like this, like that. So nowadays people believe God is all loving, right? It's a common example. God's all loving, ever forgiving. What people forget, you know, looking back in the history of their God, they forget that God, this loving part, is relatively new. God was a God of war and storms. That's why in the First Testament there's a lot of killing, a lot of cursing, a lot of death. God was a God of war and storms. And then in the New Testament we see his more loving side, more blessing side. But
do you believe the Bible's altered?
Yes, 100%. Like there's a lot of books that have been removed. Like one prime example is the book of Enoch. You know, where he specifically talks about fallen angels, magic, sorcery. And Enoch was also a great magician who then transformed into the archangel Metatron, which is the one who sits at the next to the throne of God and is the scribe of God. And he's one of the most powerful archangels. I'm sorry.
Well, I saw that there was a video on Instagram. I saw there's a little video of this guy. I forgot what his name is. Damn it! But the guy was like, all right, did you see George Washington? Do you know who he is? Right. And then what do people say? No, I don't know who he is, but I have learned it through history and what people have told me that George Washington is a so-and-so person.
Right. There's actual records and stuff like that.
And so the guy made a good point. He was like, well, if you don't know who George Washington is, yet you believe that he is what he is, with no question, undoubtedly, what's the difference between you believing that and what he did and what happened with him and Jesus Christ's resurrection and coming back from the dead and all that, if people saw it. Yeah. So it's a great point, right? I think people have a hard time believing something doesn't happen every day.
Right, yeah. So coming back to the fact, of God and this egregore being that we mentioned before, this egregore being takes steals the identity of that God. So people don't want to hear this, but a lot of churches, Catholic churches, Christian churches, do not carry the presence of God. So a lot of them actually lack the presence of God for how they trick people, for how much they bullshit.
I mean, look at a lot of, and I'm not saying there's a lot of priests that aren't like this. But look at
yes, exactly.
You can look at any movie, any documentaries. Spotlight is a great movie. All over the world, in churches found all over the world, there's issues with molestation and kids and child pornography and all this other things, and that's overlooked. Because why? Because the church is the most powerful thing in the world right now, right? And it's sad. And I believe those few churches in the world that do not or lack the power, the will of God, and lack of that energy or whatever it might be, the influence that are missing out of it are trying to mask something and take control of, people.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate because now we're making Christianity, Catholic Church, all of these religions more of a business, more of a way to control, more of a way to. So the second way, I think we recognize that, right? Because belief, everybody believes. Yeah, a lot of people have said it, right? If you don't believe in something, you're believing that you don't believe in something. That's still a belief. That's still a belief. Exactly. So anything you do is a belief in life, right? And like another thing I'd like to bring up is people, right? There's a few people that say, oh, well, if religion is real and if all this stuff is real, how come there's so many of them? And that's a great question.
If God's real, why kids die of cancer?
If God's real, how come there's kids in Africa that grow up with no food, no shelter, no water?
Well, there's some questions I sadly cannot answer because there's a bigger picture that we don't see.
Exactly.
And remember, we have free will. And the last time God intervened, they put him to a cross and killed them.
I respect religious people because I think that religious people have a sense of moral alignment.
A moral compass actually works.
So in the Bibles and the scriptures, in religion in general,
right,
there's a sense of direction. Right, and you look at people that aren't religious or that don't believe in much, and there's no direction.
So this is referring to the TikTok videos.
There's no direction. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing: there's always outliers, right? For me to say that anybody who doesn't believe in religion has no direction, that's not true. Because you see a lot of people. My mother, you guys don't know my mother. Nobody knows my mother as well as I do. But my mother does not believe in religion. My mother does not she believes in spiritual beings. And
of course.
No religion, though. But she has a direction. She wants a car, she gets it. She wants this, she gets it. She wants this, she gets it. And that's the power of will, confidence, consistency, and the will to work. And I think it's how she grew up, right? So I think the misconception with religion is that a lot of people think that it should be followed, and then you become this holy grail, and now you're free and set to that. Which I'm not gonna take it away from anybody's belief. If you believe that, that's perfectly fine. Right. But I think the way that it's justified and the way it's spread, across the world and all that stuff, I think it could be, implemented differently and spread differently, right? Because we all have the right to believe. We all have the right of will, right? And for us to say that anybody who doesn't follow religion is stupid or is
I hate the religious extremists that exist in the world, be it Christian, Jewish, Islam, right, Buddhist. Right. Bro, stay in your own lane.
And think about it. People who are too far right, too far left. You talk about it in any concept. If you are too far right in politics or too far left in politics, you're lost. If you're too far right in religion, if you're too far left and you don't follow anything, you're lost.
You need to be in the middle, balanced.
In the middle. And that does not mean that you cannot follow religion or be for that religion or be Catholic anymore and you have to be in the middle. No, being in the middle means understanding both sides, understanding that there are multiple circumstances that can be the case and not sticking to one, because that's where you get lost, right? I think that the problem with this world is that people do not question anymore.